talking about things that matter to you and things that matter to us.
Absolutely.
So what are we going to talk about today, Jonathan?
I want to talk about this epidemic with these prescription medications going on. This 2018 is about 4.25 trillion medication prescriptions being filled. And the question is, why?
Yeah, I think that's a very... It is a very... And I laugh about it because the number seems kind of ridiculous. Absolutely. Especially when you think about, I think we have approximately 330 million Americans. Mm-hmm. And you figure out half of that are adults, right?
Right.
And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, so we can just kind of cut that number in half and call that, about 200, no, not quite 200, about 180,
right?
Somewhere, maybe 100. My math always gets crossed up when I get 106, something like 160 million. If it was just adults, and not all adults are not using drugs, right? Prescription drugs.
Now look at this fact, Kat. 7 out of 10 people are on prescription medications.
Mm-hmm. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Now you take that number out of 100 million people. That's 70 million adults on medication.
70 million adults on medication. And I guess the question, again, is why? What's going on? Because we were talking earlier, and give you an idea, guys, it's saying that the average person spends about approximately $1,200 a month, a year on prescription drugs. Now, that's 44% higher than Canada. Mm-hmm. So what is it about Americans, right, here in America, that would cause us to be spending so much more money on prescription drugs than, say, someone that lives in Canada?
I think it's two factors with this. I think a lot of it comes down to personal addiction. And I think a lot of it's big business for pharmaceutical companies. Like, you go to the doctors, you have a little high blood pressure. Oh, you need to take this medicine. Or, oh, you feel a little depressed, take this medicine. Some of it might have to do with health problems. If you need to take medication, yes, that's one factor. But I think it's two main factors. One, addiction, and two, big business.
It is big business. And if I can add to what you're saying, because I just found this out recently, that doctors going to probably get a little pissed at me for saying this. But that doctors get a percentage of the drugs that they prescribe. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that they get kickbacks. Mm-hmm. And maybe you didn't know that, as well. But your doctor could very well be getting a kickback on prescribing to you drugs that you don't necessarily need.
Absolutely.
He could be having you go take a drug that, quite frankly, if you just gave it some time, got more sleep.
It would have got your system.
Yeah, whatever's bothering you would take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of times they're using you as a guinea pig, right? I'm sure you ever look at these commercials. Oh, this new medicine like Zoloft, for example. Oh, you take this, but the side effects of it, you might have diarrhea, you might have nausea. So, we got this other medication for you. Take this one. This one might have these symptoms. You might get depressed. You're feeling suicidal. Come on.
Yes, and I guess sounds like you're saying the side effects could be more dangerous than
the actual medicine.
Yeah, with the actual illness or the whole reason you went in there. So just by taking one drug can open you up, to having issues that will cause you to take additional drugs.
Absolutely.
Is that about right?
Absolutely.
And and I will tell you that, because I think when we talk about cause, you should always talk about, when you talk about effect, cause and effect, or cause, however you want to go. If you talk about cause, you should be talking about effect.
Absolutely.
And when you start looking at, what are some of the things that Americans focus on? You follow me? One of the things we focus on is glamour. Mm-hmm. You follow me? The glitz. Mm-hmm. Everybody want to look like, Cardi B, or they want to look like, I don't know, I don't know, The Rock.
Famous entertainer.
Right, exactly. Some image that they don't realize that these people are not only painted up and pumped up and filled up with all kind of stuff. Most of them, because they're on drugs, are halfway out of their minds as well.
Absolutely.
You follow me? And so it's the illusion,
right,
you follow me, of what's good versus understanding that imperfections are as normal, you follow me, as the day is long. Right. That everybody has what you would perceive as an imperfection. In other words, something that I might call attractive, you might call unattractive.
Absolutely.
Or vice versa.
Absolutely.
Some like them fat, some like them skinny, and some like them right in the middle. Mm-hmm. You follow me? But I think a part of it is that illusion that I have to be this perfect person. Right. this illusion or this illusion that somehow or another that if I'm having a bad day, then I need some kind of medication to keep me from having my bad feelings about that bad day. When really that depression that you're feeling is probably the very thing that motivates you to be better. You follow me? And so now we're giving you something to make you feel better, but on the backside of it, it's killing your drive.
And what happens when you can't afford that drug that make you feel better, or they cancel that prescription, like all these pain medications? A lot of times, this leads into the next thing. A lot of times, it leads into the illegal narcotics.
You know what? I concur. Because if I can't get it legally, then I'll find a way to get it illegally.
So we got 4 trillion prescriptions being filled. Imagine how many drugs are being sold in this country illegally.
Well, and can I read this little stat to you right quick? It said, let me make sure I get this right. And you talked about, the billions, and I mean this is billions with a B. Mm-hmm. Back to what you were talking about, that are filled, throughout the United States. And then looked up here, and there's a question here. It says, let's go here. What is the most common prescription drug? And it says Vicodin,
Narco, Exodal, Oxycontins, and the drug class is opioids and different combinations.
Now, and if you go back and you ask yourself, what do those drugs do? Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things they do is numb your ass out.
Absolutely.
I mean, you think that's old song. You don't want no problem with it. Who's that Chance the Rapper and Lil Wayne? You don't want no problem, but I ain't gonna tell you. You know what I'm saying?
They got a joke for all your problems.
So, you think? I think Lil Wayne, they got some dreadhead niggas in the lobby, right? I know we make light of it, but it's serious.
It's a serious
you follow me? And it is a serious problem. And I think that until we have honest conversation about it, until we take responsibility to what's going on, what's innately wrong with society, you follow me? That would cause Americans, you know what I'm saying, to be the most addicted to narcotics or prescription drugs than any other nation on the planet.
Absolutely.
Then we're trying to hide from something, that we feel guilty about, or we are some of the most disillusioned people on the planet. Right. You follow me?
We are.
And it's got to be one of the two.
Right.
And so in dealing with that, in having honest dialogue about that, it is sitting down and having real important conversations. First starting with your children,
right,
and then secondly having honest conversation with yourself,
right,
and saying, why am I constantly, turning to medications and different things like that, prescription drugs, to deal with things that my parents' parents, and even us as children, not your generation, but my generation on back, would have simply saw that as just a behavioral issue.
Absolutely.
It might have been just a developmental issue, a training up issue, right? A disciplinary issue.
A 10-year-old kid don't even know what depression. Most 10-year-old kids don't know what depression is. So you taking your kid just to get on a depression medication, there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
Can you tell that story about your friend, about his son?
Yeah, a good friend of mine. This was some years back. His son. The reason I realized what the problem was, because him and his son would come over to visit me and my son, and we go outside and we play basketball, and the kid loved basketball, and we'd shoot around, and he knew I had a little history in it, and so later on that same year, he put his son in a basketball league. Right. It was a youth league, and I noticed I went to one of the games. They invited me to come to the game, so I get to the game, and I noticed that as his kid is going up and down the court, when the offense when his team is going in one direction, my friend's son would be going in the opposite direction. And then when they're going, and it kept going, so he's on the offense, and so when his offense is going this way, he's going that way, and vice versa. And so I asked my friend, I said, what the hell is going on? Which is, I don't want to call his name because I really don't have his permission. Right. But I said, what's going on? His name starts with an M. I said, what's going on with M? Big M? What's going on with little M? And he said, I don't know what's going on with him. He said, he's been acting a little strange since my wife put him on this medication. I said, what medication? He said, well, her friend works for this hospital, and she has this attention deficit
disorder.
medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's been giving it to him. I said, was it prescribed? No, she was just giving it to him because he won't listen to her, so she give it to him so he'll behave.
How old is he?
11 years old. And the boy was sitting there, I thought he was numb, and I told him, I said, man, if you don't get that child off of that medication, you and I are going to have it out men to men. Mm-hmm. You follow me? And he knew I was serious. He's my friend, but it wasn't beyond, if I had to bend his arm over his head and beat the hell out of him with his own arm, I would have done that to save his son from some ignorant, so someone ignorant, don't know what the hell they're doing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he gets his son off the medication, son goes back to normal, and now his son is about to graduate from engineering school. You follow me? And she talking about the kid had no problem. The only problem he had was he had ignorant parents who thought that drugs was the solution versus, having some type of structure, and also understanding that 11-year-old boys are going to be full of,
free and
wild. Exactly right. That's what they do.
Yeah, instead of just trying to keep them mum.
Exactly right. So, in saying that, that was one lesson that, and I've shared, and Daniel, thank you for bringing that back up again. But a big part of what's going on is that we're getting these children on drugs as little children. Mm-hmm. And also, there's even incentives. I don't know if you knew that, but if you're a welfare recipient, and if your child is on medication, you get more welfare benefits, or you get more monetary benefits from what I understand. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But there's an incentive that pharmaceutical companies have worked out with the federal government in terms of public service, public assistance, that if you push their drugs, you become their drug dealers, then again they give you an extra cut.
What was President Reagan's famous quote? War on drugs, right?
Yes.
There would be a war in America if there was no drugs.
No question about it. Exactly right.
They got that one backwards.
Yeah, they definitely got that one backwards. You know what I'm saying? And and it's really a sad day, and it's at a point now where, as you can see, what opioids are doing, to Americans, all over the world, and these, young people, not necessarily just young, but young people are dying now, ODing on these opioids.
Absolutely.
So and it's a sad situation because we have trusted physicians, we've trusted people in government. We trusted people who we believe that they had our best interests in mind, and not realizing that in more cases than not, this stuff was being incentivized, by big pharmaceutical, at your demise. Because once you get on a lot of these drugs, you can't get off these drugs.
You ain't the same person.
Yeah, you can't.
I know one lady. I ain't gonna say the name, but I'll give you a situation. Beautiful young girl, full of life. And then she started getting on these prescription medications, and she aged
real fast.
She's so fast. She's not even the same woman. If I showed you what she looked like 15 years ago, what she looked like now, destroyed her. Yeah.
So because we're running out of time here, but this is what we'll say to you and you guys. That old saying, like you said to Reagan, just say no to drugs. I think that was Nancy Reagan. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you right now, there was never a time. Let me tell you like this, you know what I'm saying? Just say no to drugs, you know what I'm saying? Leave it alone.
Yeah, say no prescriptions.
No, because...
do your own research. If your doctors, trust but verify. That's your favorite saying?
Trust but verify. That's
if your doctor say you need to be on this type of medication, use Google. Do your research.
That's right.
Because it's going to affect you one way or another.
That's right. And the stuff they're putting these things are now causing these children to be sterile. Mm-hmm. You follow me? It's causing these, causing other, cancer is on the rise, heart disease is on the rise. There's a lot of other side effects that they're not telling you about because at the end of the day, pharmaceutical companies are
here to make money.
They sell drugs.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Yeah. So they ain't interested in you getting off drugs. And doctors sell drugs too. Yeah. Because if you get healthy, you don't have to go see him. You follow me?
Who's starting off on that medication?
So there's no gatekeeper there. The only gatekeeper there is you.
Exactly.
The parents. You follow me? You're the gatekeeper. Right. And if you don't want to be dealing, as I was saying, you either see me now or see me later. Mm-hmm. If you don't address this situation now, you're going to be addressing it in a way that maybe that's going to be detrimental to you and to your family later. And you're talking to someone who has 2 people that are addicted to crack cocaine in his family, myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you something. Those drugs don't go away on their own.